Hello and welcome back to my channel. I'm Louise and today I'm making a video of all my archaeology and history books that are on my TBR that I haven't got around to reading yet, but I do actually own physical copies of and I really want to get them read. So my first two books are both on Roman history. The first one is Augustus by Adrian Goldsworthy, and I picked this up because I really want to know more about the first emperor. And I really want to read some of Adrian Goldsworthy's works because I've heard so much about his books and I've not actually read one yet, but I picked this up from a bookshop in York and I'm really excited to get into it. And then the second one I have is Rubicon by Tom Holland, which is, I've heard so much about this book and I think it's a really popular book on the Roman Republic and I really need to get around to this too, as I've been so excited to read it and I'm really into my Roman history right now. So yeah, these two should be hopefully good books that I do really want to read, but just need to make the time for them. My next book is on ancient Egyptian history by Toby Wilkinson, and it's the rise and fall of ancient Egypt, the history of the civilization from 3000 BC to Cleopatra. And I got a quarter into this book like you can see here, and for some reason I just put it down and didn't pick it up again, and this was like January now and we're now well into July. But I was really enjoying it. Ancient Egypt was something I was really into when I was a lot younger, like year 3. And I really wanted to read a book more on it because I know like the King Tut stuff, mummies and things that kids love, but I wanted to get more properly into the rise and fall of the whole of ancient Egypt. And this book looked so comprehensive and I'm really enjoying it so far. I just need to pick up the momentum of what I was reading and get back into it and get going. My next book is by Francis Pryor and it is Britain BC. I've read one of Francis's books before, which was Home, Tales from Prehistoric Life, and I did really quite enjoy that book, but I wanted something a bit more full of facts, which I feel like I'm hoping this book's going to give me. And I think I've not read it yet because it's colossal. And yeah, I'm really into prehistory as well right now. I know we literally just said that about ancient Rome, but I'm saying it about prehistory too. I'm loving my prehistories. It's something I've never really explored before at school, so I try to read loads more books on it. And the book I'm currently reading is actually on similar time with Ancestors, but I'm now reading Buried. So yeah, I'm really into my prehistory or like much older stuff at the moment, and I'm hoping this book will satisfy some of that knowledge that I'm wanting to know. My next book is the Handbook of British Archaeology. I've always see this book when you like search books on archaeology, it always pops up, and I really want to read it before I start my degree in archaeology in September at York. So I picked it up to start getting an idea and wow, it looks colossal, so I'm a bit like, I feel like it's going to take me a while to read, but there's a lot of really cool pictures, like getting really into the nitty gritty like science of archaeology and methods. Which is something I don't know much about yet, but that's going to change next week when I go on my first ever archaeological dig. And I'm hoping I'm going to get a lot of time to read while I'm on camping on this dig. So I'm going to be taking a load of these books with me. So hopefully I'll get through this and you'll see me as I'm going to vlog my dig experience reading some of these books. Fingers crossed, I'm hoping, and I'm obviously going to learn a lot more about the techniques of archaeology through my dig. And then I'm going to supplement it with some books to have a look through. This book has also been on my TBR for forever, and I don't know why it's taken me so long to get around to it, because I really, really want to, and this is Pandora's Jar, Women in Greek Myths by Natalie Haynes. And I saw this book described as a feminist retelling of the Greek myths, which was like, yes please, I would like to read this. And earlier in the year I read all of Stephen Fry's great Greek mythology series, and loved it, all of them. I think I gave most of them at least 4 stars, as it was amazing, but I really wanted to see more about the women in Greek myths, as it's a part that's only slowly starting to come more into what I think is the eye of the public. And yeah, I really want to read it, I've just not gotten around to it yet. But maybe it's because I'm so excited to read it, I don't want to read it and it not meet my expectations, but fingers crossed for this one too. This next one is by Adam Rutherford, and it's a brief history of everyone who ever lived. And I know this is super popular, I know a lot of people have read this and rank it really highly. And I picked it up as I found it in a second-hand bookshop in York again, as I got a lot of these books while I was in York. which was embarrassingly in January, which is just making me think how much I really need to make this video to hold myself accountable to actually reading the books I own rather than buying new ones. And this is a bit more sciencey than something I'd usually have previously read, but I'm getting a lot more into the science of archaeology as I got a bit put off of it from doing science GCSEs and things, and I'm like rekindling my love for science, and I think this book is going to really help with that. And I think DNA, genes is super interesting, and the ancient DNA that's just like growing as a sector in archaeology, it's a really important time to get into that sort of knowledge, so I'm hoping I'll learn a lot more from this book. You know how I just went on a rant about how I need to read books before buying books? Well, this is a book I literally just bought, and it literally just arrived this morning because I saw someone recommend it on a YouTube video, and then I immediately added it to basket and checked out. As I'm weak. But this is A Short History of Drunkenness, that's a mouthful, and how we got married from Stone Age to the present, and this is something I don't think I actually know very much about at all, other than like, you know, ancient Greek gods drinking wine and grapes and all that stuff. And it doesn't look that big, so it's not a very intimidating book, so I should be able to get around to that pretty quickly and read most of it quickly. But I'm really excited to see what this book is all about. I now have another one of the very short introduction books that I want to read. This one's on classical mythology, and I really like the very short introduction books. I've already recommended 3 of them on this channel in one of my previous videos on books on ancient Rome, which has been my most popular video so far, so I think I'm going to go more down that route on book recommendations, as people seem to really like them, and I really like making videos like this. I love these sort of books, and I've started to know the myths more now, so I feel like this book will give me like more knowledge about the more like academic sense behind myths and studying myths, which is what I'm hoping to get out of this book. Now this is another book that I have started but put down and didn't pick up again, and this is no fault of the books that I do this for. I just pick them up, forget I was reading them, they go about my life, then 7 months later go, oh my god, yeah, I was reading that. And it's one of these. This is A Million Years in a Day, A Curious History of Daily Life by Greg Jenner, and I really love Greg Jenner's work. I've read his other books, Dead Famous and Ask a Historian, and I'm also a big lover of his podcast, You're Dead to Me, which I don't know who hasn't. If you've not listened to You're Dead to Me, you need to get around to that immediately. And I was thinking of doing a video on podcast recommendations, so if you'd like to see that, let me know. But yeah, daily life is so interesting to me, and I have started this book and was really enjoying of how it was wrote, about how it's not wrote chronologically, it's wrote through hours of the day. And yeah, it's just something I put down and didn't pick up again for whatever reason. Probably my fault for just forgetting, but yeah, something else I really want to read more of. This is another book that I literally just bought because I'm weak. I bought this yesterday while I was out after I managed to get through all the Waterstones without picking up a single book and going, no, I'm not allowed to buy any books, I've got to read my books first. Then I walked into the work, saw this was £4, it piqued my interest, and I went, it's only £4, that's fine. And now I have another book to read. This is the history of magic from alchemy to witchcraft, from the Ice Age to the present. And the thing about this is it's an Ice Age on the cover, and I was like, yes, that sounds good, that's really old history, I want to know that now. And also, it looks beautiful. The woman at the checkout in the work's like, yeah, a lot of people bought it today. It's like, I can see why, look how nice that cover is. So this is another book that I shouldn't have bought, but have bought, but will hopefully get round to reading soon. And coming into my final 3 books is The Anglo-Saxons by Mark Morris. I've seen so much praise for this book, and I find the Anglo-Saxons really interesting, but I can't say I actually know too much about them. And this book definitely looks like it goes into enough detail for things for me to know about. And I'm really excited to read it. It's just one of the ones, again, I've not got around to reading. I just realised I said that was my 3rd last book to come. There's actually quite a few more left to come, as I did a quick scan around my room and went, yeah, you've still got that pile of books as well, which is over there, not by a bookshelf. So yeah, remember to mention those. So there's quite a few more left to come still, more than 3. Another book that I've seen so much praise for is this, The Children of Ash and Elm, A History of the Vikings by Neil Price. And again, I'm so fascinated by the Vikings, but like honestly, who isn't fascinated by the Vikings? And this book looks like a really comprehensive history of them. I've read another book on Vikings this year already, River Kings, and I absolutely loved that book. And I'm thinking this will give me a much more information on the Vikings too, to explore. And considering I'm going to York in September, which was, you know, Viking stronghold, I think I should know quite a lot about the Vikings. This little book I picked up on my recent trip to Munich, and it's quite different from the rest of them. This is Pompeii inscriptions, so inscriptions from all around Pompeii, translated into Latin and then translated into German because I was in Germany at the time, and I did do German A-level, so I know a fair bit of German, but this is certainly going to be a challenge to read. I'm probably not going to sit and read through all this, more like a flick through book, but I thought it was quite a cool little book to show you on camera. Yeah. Another book I really want to read is Guns, Germs and Steel, as I've seen this recommended on so many lists for books for people getting into archaeology, and I've not read it yet. And it's on loads of university recommended reading lists, so I definitely need to read this one. And I'm super excited to read it, as it does sound really interesting. I know there's some controversial parts in it, so it'd be cool to see what my interpretation of that is too, and then read what other people's are as well. And it's a good book to have a conversation about, I think. And then my final three books this time, are books I have out from my local library, and I need to read these soon before September because I can't really take them to uni with me. They need to go back to my library at home, and so it'd be a bit complicated. The first one is The First Kingdom by Max Adams. Lots of his books are on my TBR online, and this one I got from the library. And it's The First Kingdom, Britain in the Age of Arthur, which is something I can't say I've really read much about, more like the Dark Ages time. And so yeah, I'm hoping this will be really informative about that period of time. Then I also have another one by Francis Pryor, Scenes from Prehistoric Life, from the Ice Age to the Comings of the Romans. And I think this is one of his newest books. I think it only came out in last year, 2021. And the cover is just so beautiful. And I've liked his other books, so I'm hoping I'll like this one too, along with Britain BC, which is also in this pile. And then my final book is by Sue Black, who I've heard so much good stuff about. And it is her first book, I believe, which is All That Remains, A Life and Death. And I believe Sue is a forensic anthropologist, so this discusses about her work, her life, and about her career and the sector that they are in. And I also want to read the sequels, her second book to this, which is Written in Bones, which apparently is also really good. But I feel like I should read her first book first, as that makes sense. However, thank you so much for watching me dissect my unlawfully long TBR. I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know what's on your TBR, or if you've read any of these books, and if you'd like a review of any of them once I've finished reading them all, and what you recommend out of this pile. If you want to track my progress while reading, you could go follow me on Goodreads, which I will link in the description below. But if you like this sort of content, please like it. Doesn't make much sense. And subscribe for more videos in the future. Thank you so much for watching, and goodbye.